Ladies and gentlemen, let's get fucking listening.
Ooh, welcome to Ole Walls house. It's me, it's your man, it's your main man, it's Ole Walls, and I'm back again. Episode 179 coming your way. Just want to say thank you to everybody to lead off. So thank you for all the support. I appreciate it. I appreciate all the watches and listens. So thank you, thank you, thank you. As always, we're going to do a little housekeeping here real quick. If you guys could, please rate, review, comment a little bit, subscribe, share, let people know Ole Walls house is the place to be. Also, want to just shout out my guy MJ over at the Full Range Podcast. You can find that on Spotify at the Full Range Podcast and on the Ole Walls House YouTube channel. Fun show coming here. Going to do a U.S. Open preview with the boys. Slano and Wiater drops in a little later with us. Join me as we kind of go over what we might expect to see at Oakmont this week. Then I'll go on and do some passing thoughts and talk about a plethora of other things here to close out the show. So without any further ado, let's get into the U.S. Open preview. Time for a little U.S. Open preview. Joining me today, Mr. Jeff Slanovic. Jeff, it's going to be looks like it's you and me here tonight. The other half of our quartet here seems to be busy with their lives and couldn't join us. So, Jeff, how you doing tonight?
All good. I'm glad that we have made this a tradition now. It sounds like we're going to be doing a lot of talking tonight. As opposed to the other ones.
Yep, we're gonna have to pick up the slack here. So we're talking U.S. Open. We're going back to Oakmont. A couple quick things here. Oakmont, probably, if not the most, top three worst case scenario, probably prestigious course for hosting big time golf tournaments in the U.S. This will be their 10th U.S. Open. They've hosted 6 U.S. amateurs, 2 U.S. women's opens, and also hosted 3 PGA championships as well. So maybe Pebble Beach would be the only other course that's kind of hosted these kind of numbers. But I mean, if you're talking top level grade A golf courses in the United States, I mean, Oakmont is, if not one, it's probably one in my opinion. But if it's not, it's in the top 2 or 3 probably for most people. I mean, you feel the same, similar?
Yeah, I mean, I think most people seem to have like a 1-2 of Pine Valley, which hosts nothing, and Augusta, because Augusta is obviously Augusta. And then after that, you can probably make an argument for a lot of different places. I personally enjoy Oakmont more than Pebble. I think some of that has to do with just how often we get Pebble versus how often we get Oakmont. I think we had a conversation a couple episodes of Ole Walls house ago about how they can turn Pebble from a major championship course to a regular PGA Tour stop every year. And I think that's kind of dumb, but Oakmont's going to be a test. I don't think it's going to be quite the test that Twitter's telling us it's going to to be.
That was one of my on my agenda here.
Oakmont's always a really good test, but these guys are good, and I'm sure somebody's gonna play well.
Yeah, I was getting a real chuckle. We might as well just start there with Twitter. A couple of things really made me chuckle. First off, that they're doing the thing. They're like, "Oh, the rough is so high." Like, we don't see this every year at the U.S. Open where they let the rough grow. And probably, this week, some point this weekend, they're going to cut it back to a little bit more manageable rate. They let it grow up and thicken up so that when they take the top off, like, it's a nice, even, kind of thing. And I'm just like, why are we doing this? Like, why is golf Twitter the way that it is? And and I know I said this last time, and I think I've revised my statement in our group chat when I said I don't think I have above average golf intelligence. I've revised that. I do. We do. Yeah. Like, the 4 of us, the 2 not here as well, like, we have above average golf intelligence. And I'm retracting my previous statement that I didn't. When I looked at that, And my other favorite thing that I saw about Oakmont was people were taking the aerial look down from like back in like the 90s when there were still all the trees and acting like they just removed the trees like in like preparation for this year.
Right.
Like we haven't just done the last 2 US Opens there with no trees.
No trees.
Yeah.
No trees. And it's definitely a different aesthetic view, right? I think you could make that the case for whether the trees make it better or worse. I think the fact that it can withstand the test of these really good players without all those trees adds to kind of what makes Oakmont, right?
Yeah, I mean, the 2 years, I mean, if you go back in history for the US Opens, I mean, 94, that was the last tree year, 5 under 1 in a playoff. In 83, 4 under 1. 07 was an absolute massacre. That was 5 over. But then in 2016, 4 under 1. Like it seems to be relatively consistent. If you go back even further, 1962, 1 under, 1953, 5 under. Like they seem to get it to a point where you can sneak it under par if you're playing good golf, and for the large majority of the field, you're not gonna. But I think that one of the more unique things about Oakmont is how they always talk that like they don't do a lot to like ramp the place up. Like they'll grow the rough out a little bit, but they don't mess with the greens. Like they've got the greens running where they want them. There's always like the story that like, oh, they actually slow it down for the US Open to make it a little more playable for pace of play. So I think that's kind of a unique thing about Oakmont, that it's so ready to go just no matter what. Like there's no tricking it up. There's no, like it's tricked up as day in and day out, it appears. So I find that to be a very unique thing about the course as well.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's one of the reasons why, to go back to kind of what I said before about the Pebble comparison and how often they get US Opens, it's just, it's different, right? Like,
hey,
there he is.
How you doing, boys?
Mr. Wiater, he's a little late, but he's here.
It's I like Oakmont's a private country club, right? So like those members there can kind of dictate what kind of course they want all the time, right? Like the membership, I'm sure, has a ton of say. If every single person who's a member there says slow the greens down, they're probably going to slow them down if all the committees and whatnot determine that. I get why these public places have to turn it on and off, right? Like Pinehurst can't be the US Open Pinehurst for 365 days a year. They've got to be able to shuffle people through there for $400 a round, right? Same thing with Pebble and some of these other places. But when you get one like this, and it's probably why when Shinnecock and Winged Foot and Congressional and some of these other places that are private clubs get these things, that they're probably really good hosts because they don't have to do a lot. Right. And Oakmont's just one of those.
Matthew, we're talking a little Oakmont here, thoughts, feelings. It's kind of, place in the hierarchy of major championship hosting golf courses in the US, those kind of things. So if you got thoughts on them, throw them in here.
I had a thought coming into this about, I feel like every time we get to this event, you see in a lead up the week or two before somebody on an Instagram dropping a golf ball into the rough that is going to disappear. Do we feel that this year it's worse than the other years? Because it feels like they're trying to make it seem like it is worse.
We actually spoke about that just a minute ago.
I missed that part.
That how we see that every year with like a US Open when it goes to a place where they like have the thick rough US Opens, and how like Twitter and Instagram and all of a sudden it's like the rough is so thick, and then we inevitably hear that like, oh yeah, on Saturday or Sunday before the event they like cut it down a little bit, like they've grown it up, they've let it get really thick and really high, and then they kind of top it off. And it's, manageable, but still really hard. So I don't think it's going to be any.
I thought I read something, again, this could be completely fake, that Oakmont was like testing growing different kinds of grass that they
I saw that.
hadn't used before to make the rough extra thick or something along those.
I had seen that and I meant to look into it further. And than I forgot. So that's a good thing. I'll look it up here if you guys want to rip a little bit.
I think that for whatever reason, it feels like they really want this year to be like significantly over. And I think
It feels that way.
it feels that way. And I'm not always in that camp, but for some reason this year, I want carnage. I want this to be brutal this year. And I'm not always in that camp, but I feel this year I just want to see them be really, really tested. Let's get a +4 winner.
Yeah, last time they were at Oakmont, Dustin Johnson won at 4 under. There were 3 people tied for second. If you could guess these 3 people, we'll do a little trivia. Guess the 3 players who finished second at the 2016 U.S. Open. They all shot 1 under. A couple of T5s shot even, and then 7th place was 1 over. So only 6 players at par or better the last time they were here. So yeah, Dustin Johnson was 4 under, but nobody else was even sniffing anything else under par for the most part.
What year was it?
16.
Matteo Monacero.
No, great guess though.
I feel like that was right around where his name was kind of relevant. That might even be too.
I think that might be too late, right?
Too late. Yeah.
T46 for Mateo.
Okay.
He was in the field. He made the cut.
Okay.
Made the cut.
A guy. I'll give you a hint for one of them. A guy who kind of synonymous with Oakmont in the area. Long-time PGA Tour player, won a couple of majors. Grinder, you may say.
He's got a couple of majors?
Doesn't he have 2?
I don't think so.
Let me double check here.
You know who it is, Jeff?
I happen to have it up, so I'm not.
Oh, just one U.S. Open.
Stuart Smith.
I was going to say.
I mean, he should have won the other one at Olympic. Yeah. Maybe I was counting that one in my mind. Jim Furyk would be that player.
Okay.
Shane Lowry was the second, and there is no way in hell anybody would guess the third.
There is if you tell them that it's synonymous with the TCC.
It's Slano's boy.
Invitational Fantasy League from way back in the day.
Oh my God. It's his boy. As soon as you say it, this is going to drive me nuts. Just say it.
You can see the picture of him, can't you?
Yeah, I can see him holding the trophy.
Yep. That would be Scott Piercy. Scott Piercy tied for second place.
God damn.
That has to be by far his best major finish ever.
Well, he's never won it, so yeah, I can confirm that.
He also T5'd the 2013 PGA Championship. Outside of that, his best finish at the Masters was a T29. And his 2 best finishes at the Open Championship were cut in 2013 and 2016. So Scott Piercy really pushing above his weight class there.
We'll always have the Canadian Open.
Anything else on Oakmont itself before we kind of roll into talking some players and who we think might be giving us something here this week?
Now let's go to the players.
Well, then, in that case, I think there's probably only one place to start this conversation. There's a gentleman that goes by the name of Scott Scheffler out there, and I don't know how we start that conversation anywhere else. I mean, he's playing incredible golf. He's won 3 times in the month of May. He's off this week for the Canadian Open. He'll be back, and the prohibitive favorite, his odds to win are plus 470. Or some of the ones I'm seeing here. That is old. That is old. I was going to say I've heard as low as plus 400. So
I believe I saw plus 280.
I'm going to look right now.
Oh, plus 280 because I'm seeing a plus 350. Plus 280 is absolutely absurd.
Plus 280 is what I have seen.
I mean, that's down to to Tiger in his prime.
Plus 260. DraftKings.
The money is coming in on Scott.
DraftKings has him at plus 260.
That's absurd.
I really only
It's
have
not going to
two
go the
games
other
in
way
this
with
thing.
how Rory played.
No. What do you shoot? 1 or 2 over today?
Bogey finish to shoot 1 over.
This
Yeah, I mean,
doesn't.
there's
Go
nowhere
ahead.
else to start besides Scotty. There's nowhere else to start. We had a text thread over the weekend. Obviously, we're saying what everybody knows. We haven't seen anything like this since Tiger. My comment about it was that when Tiger was around, I wasn't really into golf a ton. I wasn't playing. I rooted for Tiger because it was cool to root for Tiger, and I had Nike polos, and because of Tiger, as I've gotten deeper and deeper into the game myself, I have just, it's hard to believe that Scotty's doing what Scotty's doing. Like, the game is so hard. The ball is so hard to hit straight and long and accurate and the right numbers all the time. And he just doesn't make many mistakes. And if Oakmont's going to play anywhere close to as tough as they claim to say that it's going to play, I really don't think the list of people who can win at this place is very, very long. And he's on that list, obviously, and he's at the top of the list.
You want to hear the top, 6 guys on odds board?
Yeah.
Scotty's plus 260, Rory plus 750, Bryson plus 900, Rahm plus 1200, Xander plus 1800.
And do we even know where Xander's really at with this game yet? It doesn't feel like he's back.
I don't think so. I think there's
I thought he was close. And then I watched him last week quite a bit at Memorial, and I don't think he's on that list that has a shot next week because he's not driving the ball straight enough. It felt like he was constantly in the rough at Memorial, not able to give himself enough opportunities. When he's in the fairway, he's got a chance. But you're not going to be able to live out of the rough next week and have a ton of success unless nobody's in the fairway. And I think as the leaderboard from 2016 shows, there's enough good players. Someone's going to do what Dustin did. Someone's going to pipe it long and straight down the middle for 4 days. And they're just going to have a better chance than everybody else of hitting greens and giving themselves 2 putts. Hope the hole gets in the way a couple times.
Does the fact that these greens are so ridiculous, so fast, so undulated, does that give you any pause for Scotty? Because when even last week, when he won, he lost strokes putting. Do we feel like that's going to accentuate, maybe his, not stellar putting? I mean, it's not bad. I mean, he's right around tour average, but do we feel like this brings other people back towards him, or do we feel like this kind of allows others that can maybe make up some shots on the green to kind of close the gap a little bit?
I don't know, because it just seems like this place is so hard tee to green too. Like, you've got to hit it in the fairway, and you've got to give yourself looks, and
the right looks too,
right? Like, who's going
from the right angles?
Who's going to get more good looks than him the way he strikes it? I mean, Bryson's got to be in it because he's going to try and probably bomb it around that place, I would assume, and just try and use that as the advantage for himself. But
yeah, and if he hits it in the rough, he'll hack it out and try and get something out on the green and run with it from there.
You know who I was looking at the board? Ludwig Aberg. I think he's going to be one of the guys that are going to hang around this one.
Yeah, he played well last week, right? He finally put a good round out there. He threw up a stinker in the middle, but
played well Sunday, saved this whole week. I think he shot 7 under at Memorial or something like that. But as a longtime Luke List fan, I think that as he's a notorious horrific putter.
I thought that's where his problem was. So I was wondering where.
Horrific putter, worse than Scotty. I think sometimes playing golf courses where everyone is going to find the greens to be difficult can actually be somewhat of a sneaky advantage for people who putting's not their strength, right? Because if everybody's going to struggle on the greens, it's hard to imagine you're going to struggle like significantly more than what struggling already is, right? Whereas you go to places where putting might be easy, the guys who aren't great putters are going to really be at a disadvantage when everybody else who's a plus putter and average putter is going to find those to be easy. So I don't know that I worry as much about that. I think my only worry with Scotty is that like winning's hard, and he's won now 3 of the last 4 and 2 pretty big ones in there. And is he going to win 4 out of 5? Like winning's really hard. I think I actually texted a group of people. I don't know if it was ours. The tournament in here at Colonial that he did lose. What he finished 3rd or 4th or 5th or something like that anyway. But I think my only logic was like winning 3 times in a row is really, really, really hard, right? And this would be 2 in a row, not 3 in a row. But it's hard.
No, this would be 3, wouldn't it? Wasn't Colonial before the PGA?
No, Colonial was the week after the PGA, wasn't it?
You might be right.
I feel like he was one of the few who they thought he would WD, but he wasn't going to WD because he.
Yep, you're right.
So that was literally my only logic. Like he might finish 3rd, but just winning's hard, right? So like I don't envision. I think it's more likely he finishes in the top 5 than he finishes outside the top 20, right? But winning's really hard, and it's really the only knock you can say for Scotty.
Minus 175 to top 5.
That's absurd. It's absurd.
How's that even a real fucking number for that?
Top 10, minus 340.
It's absurd.
I mean, how? Like, I know you just said, and I agree with it. Like, I would take him to finish T5 in the top 5 before I take him to finish outside the top 20. But like, how are the odds like that much? Like, and again, I understand the odds. Like, they're banking on people being like, "Oh, Scotty Scheffler's playing so great. Like, we're gonna get on him." But like, that is nuts.
Yeah.
Absolutely nuts. Some data golf numbers here. Scotty Scheffler, Rory McIlroy, Bryson DeChambeau, John Rahm, and Justin Thomas are the current top 5 in the data golf rankings. Scotty Scheffler is gaining 3.09 shots a round. Second place, Rory, 2.13. So he's almost a full shot better than the guy in second place. Like, that is a huge golf that's a stroke a day. So 4 shots better on average over a tournament. It's nutty. And it's playing itself out. I mean, he won last week just putting okay, just literally okay. He actually lost a couple shots to the field, but his tee to green stuff is so good. What do we think about John Rahm here? It seems like he showed some signs of life at the PGA, kind of imploded a little bit coming down the stretch. But do we feel like this place is a fit for him? He played here as an amateur in 2016, as did Scotty. So he's seen the course in championship conditions before. Granted, it's been a little while, but what do we feel about the Spaniard, the fiery Spaniard's chances for this?
I think he's there, but he's not really there. I think he's on the leaderboard the whole week, but you're never like he's threatening that he gets that close. That's what I think. I just think he's going to be there.
I don't think he's going to win.
T13.
Yeah, that sounds about right. It feels like this is another. He's got a chance because he's in the top 20 and he's in the top. Like I don't think he's going to shoot 80, right? And he'll have one day where he plays well because he's still really good at golf. But I don't know that he's going to be good enough for 4 rounds. It feels like there's going to be a 76 in there somewhere. That's just going to be too much to try to overcome.
Yeah, this is going to be a week, I think, where avoiding that 75, 76, 77, 74, like avoiding that big overpar day is probably the key that's going to separate who wins this and who finishes like T2 to like T10.
Scotty
'Cause-
Scheffler.
Yeah. I mean, everything points back to Scotty.
What is this par 72? This place? Oakmont?
I think they played at 70.
70. You want to hear a funny
Right.
one on the odds board? That Tommy Fleetwood, I know he's won internationally, has the 8th best odds. Dude's never won on the PGA Tour.
He's not a winner.
Everyone always bets on that guy. Just light your money on fire.
I think he might win.
No fucking chance.
Jeff's
telling
got him. Jeff's got him. He's on Jeff's board. 100%.
Just telling you.
There's no chance.
Well, DraftKings.
You know what he'll do?
Plus-
You know what he's going to do? He's going to blaze one day and get himself like way up the leaderboard.
I hope.
But when push comes to shove, it won't be there.
I hope he goes and shoots 66 the first stack, just so we can listen to Jeff on Thursday.
If he shoots 66 on Thursday, I will have never felt more comfortable about the fact that he won't win. If he blazes one early and has to sit on it and like run out the lead, there is no chance. There's none. His best chance is he's like 3 or 4 back on Sunday. He gets out a little early, kind of gets one going and posts like 67, 66 out ahead of everybody. And everybody just has to fucking tighten up their butthole and hold on tight coming down the stretch. Any retort to that, Jeff? What do you got? Why do you think he may win?
Grin on his face.
You're a loser until you're not a loser. There's a specific skill set that if you look at that 2016 leaderboard, Dustin Johnson, long and straight. Jim Furyk, straight. Shane Lowry, ball striker. Scott Piercy's best is ball striking. Sergio Garcia, ball striking. Brandon Grace at that time, ball striking. Kevin Na, short, ball striking. Jason Day, ball striking. Zach Johnson, ball striking. Why is Tommy Fleetwood not that list of people? And he's playing extremely well right now. He didn't play great at the PGA. T16 at Jack's Place last week. T4 before that at the Charles Schwab. T4 at the Truist, which was supposedly a ball striker's place. 7th at the Heritage, ball striker's place. T21 at the Masters. You're going to have to hit it straight at Oakmont, and you're going to have to hit it straight often, and you're going to have to be able to hit your mid and long irons, and that is Tommy Fleetwood. I know he's never won. He's never gotten to play with Rory McIlroy in the partner event the way Shane Lowry has, but he's Shane Lowry, and both of those guys, he's Shane Lowry without an Open, right? And both of those guys feel like very, very live people next week at Oakmont. But yes, up to this point, he's a notorious loser. And it's very possible when we do the Open Championship preview, we say that. Or when we do the recap next Monday, we say that.
I just don't buy him. I agree with a lot of what you said. He's the right course fit. He's playing good golf.
He doesn't win.
Until he proves me otherwise.
Until he wins, right?
And he doesn't really contend a ton either. Like, he is the king of, like, the non-competitive top 10, it feels like. I don't have stats to back that up, but it feels like that's what he is.
For some reason, my head is also saying that his best U.S. Open finish was when it was crazy at, was it Shinnecock? But that could be completely not true. No, it's not true.
Didn't he finish second or third at Shinnecock that year?
Oh, no, he did. Yeah, that was 18, right?
Yeah, because that was the year
he finished second that year. So,
but here's to my point. That year, he wasn't a factor. He went out early and shot like 63.
Correct.
After they completely soaked the golf course Saturday night, because all the players were losing their mind and Phil was hitting fucking putts that were still moving.
Oh, I'm not disagreeing with you. I there's a reason I think the number's there, and I can completely understand why people would not bet on it. I understand why people would not necessarily pick him. I don't know that I'm picking him to win. I'm guessing you're going to ask at the end of this for a pick. I don't know that it'll be him. We got more talking to do, but I'm not writing Tommy Fleetwood off.
I won't write him off for a top 10. Well, I think that brings us. There's probably one of two ways we need to go here. It's either the big golfer, big boy Bryson, or Rory. So Matt, I'll let you decide who we kind of discuss next here.
Well, we're going to talk about Rory because we're going to save the guy who's going to win for last. I think that Rory misses the cut. I think that
Interesting.
I think he's going to drive it all over the fucking place and not going to make the cut. That's what I think.
Results with the driver today at Canada, I believe, would agree with you, if I'm not mistaken. I didn't watch a ton of it, but
watch it. Did he drive it all over the place? I have no idea.
I don't think it was stellar. I don't think it was awful, but I don't think it was stellar.
52nd in the field, strokes gained off the tee. He was positive. Minus 1.4 on approach, 128th. Minus 1.07 around the green, 143 in the field. Strokes gained around the green.
Your around the green stuff is going to have to be tidy this week for the U.S. Open too, which, again, shockingly, is another check mark for Scotty Scheffler.
Scotty Scheffler. You're going to really struggle to go through all of this and say who's going to win. The only way you're confident picking against Scotty is literally it's just he's won too many times. It's hard to keep winning every time. Like, there's not going to be something where you're like, Oakmont is this.
It really sets up for somebody other than him. And
no, like everything you're going to say, it sets up for him. He drives it long enough. He drives it straight. He pures his irons. He's got a good short game. He just doesn't putt, but he doesn't need to shoot 20 under.
I've actually often wondered a little bit if his putting stats get a little beat up by how well he chips it. And like the fact that he chips it, like when he does miss greens, that he generally chips it into very makeable, like short putts that I don't know if there's any, validation to that like if he's just not giving himself enough chances to earn strokes gained on the green.
There's definitely something to that combined with the fact that he's one of the best iron players on tour. So you're constantly watching him have 12 feet, right? Or 14 feet or 8 feet. And you're not going to make all of those, right? They said he didn't make one putt outside of 15 feet last week at Memorial, which just seems absurd. Now he made a lot of 14s and 12s along the way, but he gives himself those. And there's definitely something to that.
I was going to say that too. Like, he probably hits more greens than everybody else. So he probably he's putting more often. So he's going to have some longer ones because the dude just feels like he never misses the green. And
then when he does, he chips it to 3 feet.
Right. So it's like, I feel like it's a little.
He's in the right spot.
Yeah, he's just a little skewed on the putting for him.
I'll take Rory to be an uncompetitive or it'd be non-competitive, right? Uncompetitive isn't a thing. A non-competitive like T30, T35, something like that. Kind of just always hovering around and just enough for the TV cameras to be on him plenty. The announcers would be like, well, if he could really, string together a couple of birdies over the next 6 holes, he'll get himself right back into it. Birdies are at such a premium out here, and then it just won't happen.
With a 2 under through 4 start on Saturday morning or something like that. That gets people.
The Rory goes out in 32.
Right. Maybe not 32, but.
We've been missing that for a while. I mean, there was a stretch there. Saturday and Sundays, it'd be like, man, Rory just went out in 30. If he just holds it together on the back 9. And then he'd make like 9 straight pars. Those were awesome times. There was nothing. I didn't dislike Rory nearly as much as I do now then. And there was nothing that really got the blood pumping than like Rory Birdie's 1, Rory Birdie's 3, Rory Birdie's 4. And you're like, oh, here we go.
Yeah.
Double.
See ya.
Hooks one out of bounds.
I did not hear this, but I read that I guess he was quoted yesterday as saying something to the effect of like he not lost his love of golf, or something took a step back after he won the Masters. Like he felt less motivated after winning the Masters or something like that because of how much was just finally like lifted off of his shoulders by winning that. His play since then has kind of agreed with that to an extent.
Well, we kind of all said, we had a discussion that, pod after the Masters, like, is this the moment that frees him up and he just starts rattling stuff off? Or is it like, and I think we talked a little bit about the way he won it more than just the fact that he did win it and achieve the accomplishment. But I mean, we brought up like, hey, maybe, that was kind of the last one and it's never quite the same. So, I mean, I don't think it'd be the craziest thing in the world that like he doesn't get another one and isn't, it'd be crazy if he was never competitive in them again. And I don't think he won't be competitive, but like it wouldn't be the wildest thing if, he ends his career with 5 majors. I mean, he's what, in his later 30s now, so
isn't he 35?
I think he's like our age,
Yeah.
right?
Is that it?
Yeah, I think he's like
Yeah.
35.
God, he's just been around so long. Yeah, 36. It's crazy. He feels like he's like 40. I believe that brings us to Mr. Bryson. Waiter, you seem to think he's the winner. I'll give you the floor here again.
I think he's going to drive it straight enough. And I think when he hacks it out, he gets to hack it out a little bit different than everybody else hacks it out. So he's going to give himself more opportunities to get up and down from, we'll call it the 15 to 25 yard range, when some of the other guys are going to be hacking it out and they're going to have to get up and down from 60 or 70 yards. And I just think that that's going to make a little bit of a difference. It's going to be a couple shots in his favor. He's going to take advantage of enough holes with the length that he hits it in the fairway. And because I don't think he doesn't drive it that wildly inaccurate. He hits it fairly straight and he hits it a mile. Because like I guess the last couple of times he was in contention, it wasn't the drive. It wasn't he struggling with his irons.
Yeah, he couldn't hit the irons at Augusta.
So I don't know. I just think that the length is going to get him really involved in this tournament.
Jeffy?
Yeah, I don't know that he's going to win. But I think he's going to give it a really good go. I think because I'm not totally sold that Scotty's going to win, like, I think I'd put my stake in the ground that, like, he's won so much recently. Like, you just don't see people rattle off 6 of 7 or 7 of 8 like he's on pace to do with another win. He just seems really way too popular. Like, literally the minute the PGA ended and everyone shifted their focus to Oakmont, it became immediately like Bryson's going to win Oakmont. And there's a reason to me it feels like all the towers in Vegas are not going down. They're adding on to them. And he just feels too popular to me. And we still have that quote that went around of he needs to find a golf ball that flies straighter more often. So
he's been in the lab, man. You don't know what he's been doing. We haven't seen him.
We don't know what he's been doing, and we're going to see him in Virginia tomorrow on the CW or whatever. If you want to tune in and watch live,
Isn't he
Virginia,
trying to hit the ball over
with all other 12 people watching it?
Isn't he doing something with the White House right now? Isn't he going to hit balls?
He was hitting balls at the White House the other day.
Yeah, he was doing trying to do the hole-in-one challenge over the White House, right?
Yeah, I thought I saw something.
Yeah, I don't think they let him go over it, but he they cut a green into the East Lawn or the West Lawn.
They always used to have a green out there, so.
Oh, maybe they still have it then. I think he'll be he's going to be very, very much so in this tournament. I think at 8 or 9 to 1, I don't know. I don't know that it would be for me, but I think he's very much so going to be in it. Another guy, I'd be shocked if he's outside the top 30 and not inside the top 10.
Okay, let's go down the board a little bit. I mean, we've talked about the big guns. Is there somebody down the board that speaks to you guys at all? I mean, I'm looking down the board. I mean, about the furthest down the board we've mentioned is Ludwig. I mean, is there anybody else that you're like, man, this guy's speaking to me?
I have a couple names that are all honestly out of the same realm of Tommy Fleetwood. That just, they feel like guys who are going to compete and contend at Oakmont. And can they win? I have no idea. But on the wheel of losers that I typically am a fan of, like Patrick Cantlay feels like a very boring straight hitter of the golf ball who has a chance to win at Oakmont. Russell Henley is another guy who feels like he'd fit at Oakmont, hits it straight.
Feels like length is going to really kill him there.
That dude is not winning.
And I think a name like Corey Connors way down the board has a chance. I think sometimes we overthink needing to hit it long and for sure hitting it straight. In things like this, you sit there and you go, well, that guy only hits it 295. Everybody else is going to hit it 315. Well, yeah, but if the 295 guy's in the fairway 85% of the time and the other guys are in the rough 50% of the time, that's going to matter as it pertains to coming into some of these greens.
Can I also say something about 295? That's still really far.
Gonna say, yeah.
But that's what these guys are hitting it.
Yeah, I know. Like that's really far.
Right. Like we've really changed like what the short is. But again, you go back to these people from 2016 that are on the leaderboard, like Jim Furyk, Shane Lowry, Scott Piercy, Sergio Garcia, Brandon Grace, Kevin Na, Jason Day, Jason Duffner, Zach Johnson, Daniel Summerhays, David Lingmerth. Like, we're talking about people who hit it straight.
David Lingmerth hits it nowhere.
Nowhere. And he shot 72, 69, 75, 67. Like, then you get it to Brooks Koepka. Then you go Kevin Streelman. Like,
nowhere.
Then you go Bryson DeChambeau. Then you go Andrew Landry, Brandon Steele. Like, I think there's going to be multiple guys in that don't hit it overly long, but they just hit it straight for 4 days.
Here, I'll go back to 07 for you to kind of make your point a little bit more. Jim Furyk.
Right, love this.
Jim Furyk again, T2, just absolute Oakmont T2 machine. I don't even Niclas, not Nicholas, Niclas, Niclas, fast. Just never heard of him before. He's from Sweden. David Toms, T5, Jerry Kelly, Scott Verplank, T7, Paul Casey and Justin Rose, T10.
Ball striker.
Yep.
I got two. I'm going to piggyback you on your theory, Jeff, on one of my guys. Brian Harmon, if we're going down.
No.
Little B.
I love Little B, but he stinks right now.
That's all right. Good short game. And Matthew Fitzpatrick.
Interesting. Matt Fitzpatrick sighting.
You wanted down the board, so we went down the board.
I skipped one name that has to be mentioned just based off of what he's done this year. Like Sepp Straka, 100% feels like a guy who, based on how he's playing, again, the only knock on Sepp Straka right now is like, is he really going to win 3 times?
Yeah.
Right? Like, is he really going to do that? That's the only thing you'd be like, he's hitting it long enough, straight enough, he's playing well. Is he really going to win 3 events in the first 6.5 months?
I got 3 down the board names. I don't think these guys are threats to win. If I was placing a win play show bet, I'd be looking at him in the show position here. Keegan Bradley, ball striker, drives it well, adds a little length to driving it well. My guy Harris English. I'm going to ride him for another major here. I think there's a top 25 play to be made with Mr. English.
I'm not betting him this time.
And I don't know if I just like this guy or there's like some reality to it. Daniel Berger been playing some decent golf lately.
Decent golf.
And then Mav McNeely also been playing some good golf. Keeps the ball out in front of him. Kind of staying true to the keep it in play and see what you can do with it.
Berger did just miss 2 cuts in a row. The official world golf rankings tell me. Before that, it was pretty good golf.
Yeah. As I look at the data golf rankings here, he has slid 9 spots recently. So he was up to all the way up to 16th. So yeah, the last couple weeks have not been kind to him. But hey, you got to bust out of a funk sometime.
Another name that I think you don't know what you're going to get other than he competes. And I think I saw something going into the last major that he's been the most profitable, like top 20 guarantee to be in the mix in a major play, is Patrick Reed. Again, he does everything that Oakmont feels like you're going to want.
He doesn't drive it very well, though.
He doesn't, but he makes up for it with all the other stuff. He hits his irons really well. He's got a really crafty short game. Just seems to play well in majors. I don't have a ton to back that up other than I feel like he's just constantly...
He's a grinder.
Yeah, grinder for sure. Let's see what the World Golf Ranking website tells me. Third at the Masters. Oh, he just missed the cut at the PGA. I didn't know that. Never mind.
He's out.
We'll retract that.
You want to hear some of the other tournaments that Patrick Reed has played in that have gotten him official World Golf Ranking points?
Yes, please.
The USPGA missed cut. The Masters, third. He finished second at the International Series Macau, presented by Wynn. He finished tied for 60th at the Bapco Energies Bahrain Championship. He finished 8th at the Ras Al Khaimah Championship. And he finished 10th at the Dubai Desert Classic. That's his 2015 ranking points events.
2025, you mean?
What did I say?
2015.
Oh, 2025. Yes. 2025.
God, I hope that new sports car he bought with all that fucking lift money's worth it for that fucking schedule he's got to maintain. Oof.
Yeah.
You know who we haven't mentioned at all, and I don't know that we've really talked about him at all this year? Victor Hovland. Like, what's going on with him?
He's just happy to be there.
It feels he's to me, it's hard to trust someone who doesn't feel like they're trusting themselves. Like he won and he was like, I don't know like how I just won. I feel like I have my like 6 out of 10 game.
That was almost his like exact quote, right?
Yes, that's exactly what he said. Maybe it was 7 out of 10 or instead of 6, but just feels like a big stage for someone who's not speaking overly confidently about where they're at. When you talk about some of these other guys that they're going to be trying to run down. I mean, you got to have your best to beat Scotty, you would think.
Yeah.
Someone might, but.
All right. Let's, anybody else we need to mention? We'll throw our names out here. We'll put some stakes in the ground, make some picks, stand for something here.
Isn't this year? This is yours though, right? Because you told me that I have the Open.
Oh, yeah, you do have the Open. So I'll go last, but you guys can put some stakes in the ground as well before
No, I think you've got to go first.
I have to go first. Oh, I'm taking Scotty.
Okay.
I just can't, like, I don't want to, but, like, at the same time, I just can't work myself off it enough. Like, if the only argument is, like, you just can't keep winning.
You can.
You can. Like, I can't. Like, if that's the best argument against him winning is that he's been winning too much, I have no counter argument, and nobody's knocking down the door enough pre-tournament for me to say I'm going with somebody else. So I'm standing on Scotty Scheffler to get his second major of the year. right after the PGA pod where I told everyone to pump the brakes on how many majors he was going to win, I'm going to completely reverse script and be like, he's going to get the next one too, by the way.
I'm taking Bryson. That's all that needs to be said.
I'll put my stake in the ground. I'll have fun. I'll say that the guy who has no shot to win because he's never won wins. I'll say that Tommy gets it done. And we're either going to come on here and be like, he's such a loser. Look at him finish second. He's such a loser. He missed the cut. Or we are going to have a parade on Sunday night when he does this thing.
All right. I like that, Jeff. I can get behind you, sticking your neck out, standing for something, being somebody. I like it.
I think when I'm looking at this list of like, Xander doesn't excite me as a win pick right now. Rory doesn't excite me as a win pick. Morikawa doesn't excite me. He
stinks.
Like, stinks. Victor, Brooks, Hideki, like JT
Brooks stinks right now. Hideki doesn't seem
can't
close.
Drive it straight enough. Cam Smith, no. Joaquin Neiman, no. Finau, no. Homan, like, I don't know. There's a lot of fairly confident. Like, I don't really think that guy has much of a chance.
A guy you just mentioned that I know has no chance is Max Homa because he's not in the field. So
not in the field.
It's a great point. That's a great point. We both tried really hard to qualify. He just had to walk a lot more than I did. Just realized that. Yeah.
Oh,
according to the article I have pulled up in front of me, as of it doesn't say when this article was written, but he was 45-1 at this time, and yeah, losing bet or refunded bet, depending.
Anybody got anything else to say in the U.S. Open? I got a couple other quick hits around the golf world that I want to touch on if we're all done here.
I'm good.
Jeff, you're thinking.
No, all good.
Okay.
All good. No, I'm looking at some things.
Just a couple of things I wrote down. This one kind of struck me as interesting. I thought to myself, must have been watching the last Siggy event that Scotty just won. And I had this thought that are PGA Tour wins both harder to come by and easier to come by now, depending on the type of schedule you play. So I'll flesh this out a little bit. The top guys used to spread out across the schedule a lot more. And you would see more guys do like what Scotty does, like go to Colonial, where it'd be like there's one big name, a couple of mid-level guys, and then a bunch of also-rans. With the signature event model, most guys aren't playing like the off weeks. Like this week in Canada is one of the better fields. It's not a signature event, and there's still not a bunch of guys in it, but like we used to have more of that. And these top guys used to kind of pick off like lesser tournaments throughout the year and like play more tournaments like close to their, to where they're from or like places they like. Like I'm thinking like Phil always used to play Waste Management back in the day when, people used to kind of rotate in and out of that, places like that. So do we think I'm on to anything here that like for the top guys, it's almost become harder to win because they're all going to these same signature events. Whereas like those mid-level guys might be picking up some more tour wins throughout their career than they possibly would have in the previous kind of schedule setup.
Probably a little bit for the mid-level guys because they're playing more as well. They're giving themselves more opportunities by just playing more events. So probably can get behind that. Top level guys making it harder because they're only playing the same events. I don't know. Right now, it just seems really hard because it just feels like Scotty Scheffler wins them all. So,
I think there's something to what you said, because I was having a conversation, not necessarily about Fleetwood, but along the same lines of you're only a loser until you aren't a loser anymore. And if you look at the schedule this year, the amount of guys who are first-time winners, or it seems like it's a big number. I'm trying to get to the completed here. Here we go. Thomas Dietrich, I believe, is a first-time winner. Brian Campbell's a first-time winner. Joe Highsmith's a first-time winner. Henley's not a first-time winner, but it definitely felt like winning a signature event for him was like a first-time, big-time thing for him. Carl Phillips won the opposite field event. Minwoo Lee won for the first time.
Like Minwoo's a guy I'm thinking about. Like his type of like caliber of player can kind of pick off more of these when there's not a Scotty or Rory, a Xander.
Yeah, Sepp Straka won a signature event for the first time. Ryan Fox won. Ben Griffin won on his own. Like, it definitely feels like if you're not in that top tier, that just playing a couple more events than you otherwise would normally have played does give you an opportunity to rattle a couple off. I don't know that necessarily it means that the top guys are winning any less. I think they're in a unique spot because you've got like the Tiger who set his schedule based on what courses he wanted to play and what courses he had great history at. You could kind of
because he won like 49% of his tour wins came at like 6 courses.
Yeah, he torched Memorial, right? Like he torched Bay Hill. He like
torched Firestone.
Torched Firestone, perfect, right? Now. They seem to just be playing the ones where the money is, and they have to sleep in the bed that they made. That's a post-live thing that they all determined what we have to get paid too, type of thing. But yeah, I guess to an extent it does feel like, I mean, every course kind of fits Scotty Scheffler. But there are definitely others that would fit the top guys better than some of the other guys. Yeah. That if they were able to pick their own schedule and not worry about the signature events, that yeah. I think there's something there.
Yeah, let's just workshopping something. The other thing, news this week, the Tour Championship going away from the starting strokes model. So everybody will start at 0 again. And just the winner of the Tour Championship decides who wins the FedEx Cup, which in the ridiculous ways the FedEx Cup has been handed out over the years, I think it has gotten worse in how they've decided it over the years. I didn't think the starting strokes thing was a good fit for it. And this way may be the most ridiculous in my eyes. I know the tour wanted one winner at the end of the Tour Championship, and they didn't like, the years when somebody would win the FedEx Cup while a different player would win the Tour Championship itself. But to me, that still feels like the best way to crown a year-long champion, as opposed to we just get to the end and whoever's 30th in the FedEx Cup points rankings has the same chance as Scotty Scheffler does at the end. I mean, any thoughts from you guys there?
I agree with you that having 2 winners is the best way. You're doing a season-long event. So you have to factor in that there's a chance that 2 different people are going to end up, right? It's just the last tournament, right? So someone is going to win it. And that could very well be it could not be Scotty Scheffler, but he should win the other one because he's won the most events and has the most points. Like, seems to me pretty straightforward.
Yeah, right now, Ryan Gerard is in 30th in the FedEx Cup standings. He has 818 points. Scotty Scheffler has 3,500. So we're going to tell me that at the end of the year, if Ryan Gerard has the week of his life and wins the Tour Championship with 30 guys in the field, that he is the one who should earn all the money and be awarded like essentially the player of the year kind of championship thing. I don't know. Seems weird to me. I don't like it. I
think I'm both in the minority and I'm also in agreement. This new thing stinks. It makes no sense. I'm in the minority of I didn't think the starting strokes was a problem. I think when you had 2 different leaderboards, I do agree that maybe not for us, as we talked about on the beginning of this thing, Wally, we're probably in the top couple percent of golf knowers. When it comes to understanding golf, like we could figure out 2 leaderboards, who's winning the whole thing and who's winning this week. I didn't think there was an issue with the starting strokes thing. I get it's weird for 1 week, but is it really any weirder than the whole season being determined by 4 days? Is it any weirder than having 2 leaderboards? Like, I don't know, you play really well the whole year. You deserve to have a 1-shot lead or 2-shot lead over someone who didn't play as well for the whole year. And it makes for that week kind of interesting. You still have to go out and play. I think there was a year or two ago, maybe it was last year's, like Scotty bogeyed one and someone else birdied one, and they were tied after one hole, right? Like, and Scotty ended up winning. But I didn't see an issue with the starting strokes thing, because I think that recognizes your season long performance, and you're not just focusing on who makes all the money, but 1 through 30, I believe, gets paid out a certain percentage. So if you're Ryan Gerard right now, like, you deserve to start 10 shots behind Scotty Scheffler. Honestly, you probably deserve to start 20, based on how far out ahead that he is. But I didn't have an issue with that. I get the watchability factor of match play. I don't know that we're ever going to get to that because of the TV late on a Sunday, not enjoying watching a lot of golfers walking the golf course and not hitting shots. I didn't think there was an issue with starting strokes. I think they're fixing something that, let's be honest, nobody cares during football season about the FedEx Cup. So they're kind of really just throwing stuff at a wall and seeing what works.
I will say I didn't have the biggest problem with the starting strokes. I liked it less than what they did before. But I think my big problem with the starting strokes was it sometimes didn't account enough for the type of year somebody had. Like, if Scotty wins 1 or 2 more times this year, and had this been the starting strokes, he deserved more of a 2-shot lead to start the tournament, would have been my big thing. Also, the fact that they did this over halfway through the season, like, we're what, five months into the season, and they're just like, hang on, we're changing it all, boys. Just free for all at the end.
That lead you have, Scotty, means nothing. You better play well at East Lake.
Yeah, screw you, Scotty.
Right.
And he probably will, right?
Yeah.
But
that's all I got, gentlemen. Anything else from you fellas?
Jeff, how you feel about today? Are you nervous at all?
Yeah, we're recording this Thursday, June 5th.
Oh, sorry.
No, that's okay. I just want to toss that out there. Thursday, June 5th. So Jeff's Thunder kick off the NBA Finals tonight.
Honestly, I didn't know where you were going with. Am I nervous? No.
Oh, you're not nervous at all. No.
No,
Very
not
confident in
nervous.
this. How many games are
I'm
those
disappointed that Knicks couldn't stretch it to 7 to get me my Thunder in 5, Pacers in 7 prediction that I gave on the pod a couple weeks ago. No, I think that the correct answer to this is probably Thunder in 5 if the NBA was not rigged. So I think you'll probably get Thunder in 6. And I think there's definitely going to be one of those where you're like, yep, got it. The NBA wants an extra game.
What is it today?
It feels like
It
feels like if the NBA is going to do their we got to extend a series thing, it's this one. Like, this cannot be good TV like ratings.
No, they just need extra games.
They need all the games they can get. They need this thing going. They need Game 7.
Well, I know they're not getting game. The Pacers aren't good enough for them to get 7.
Wow,
It's just
10 today, huh? 10.
10 is the number?
10.
Yeah. If you go onto the Action Network app, there are 16 experts who have made a pick on this game before this podcast. All 16 of them have laid the 10.
Well, I love that.
Pacers! Pacers!
You know where I'm going.
They're they're really good. It's fun. I hope everybody gets to appreciate the basketball that they play. They guard, they play fast, they play slow, whatever you want. The Pacers want this thing to go fast. They're about to learn that they don't have the card to do that.
I just can't get over the fact that Tyrese Halliburton shoots it like a high school girl.
Oof, it is hard to watch.
He also has historically struggled against the Thunder, which is a huge problem for the Pacers moving forward.
What time's this thing tip? 8:30? Is that when it tips?
8:30, which probably means 8:40,
Yep.
8:45.
Okay.
Did you, speaking of the tip time things, you probably did not. Did any of you happen to catch Brian Anderson announcing French Open match yesterday with John McEnroe,
No.
asking him about the start time for the TNT game, because TNT has the French Open and TNT also had the Oilers Panthers game 1 last night. And I guess at one point, like, McEnroe was like, "So Brian, what time does this game start tonight on our network?" And he goes, 8:30. 8:30 is the start time. He goes, no. Like, I want the inside information. Like, when am I going to be able to tune in and actually see the puck drop? And Brian Anderson goes, we're not going to be able to give that information. The correct answer is like 8:50. So I think it's like 8:30. That'll probably tip off at like 8:42.
It's the best thing that the NFL does. They're like, we play at this time, and that's what it means.
1 o'clock means 1 o'clock.
1 o'clock means 1 o'clock. 8:27 is, the Sunday night game or whatever. Like, they get it down to the minute. Like, the Super Bowl kicks off at 6:25. Like, just tell us when it starts.
Wild theory, right?
Yeah.
I got caught by hockey the other night. I turned it on at whatever time it was, and there was a 20-minute countdown to puck drop on the studio, and I was like, "Oh my god!" Like, what?
As a guy who started watching hockey the last couple of years, one of the most absurd things I found was that you'd flip on like a Flyers game, and it'd be like, game is 6 o'clock. You'd turn it on one night at like 6:02, and the game would be going. The next night you'd turn it on at like 5:55, be like, I don't want to miss the puck drop. And it's like 25 minutes until the game starts. It's like, we're just doing different things every night.
Wild. But
yeah, football and baseball, they do it right. They give you to the minute, like, this is when we're going.
Riveting. I hope the listeners enjoyed that. We love just going at televisions and the networks, and
they're bad.
They're so bad. The only, to give Golf Channel credit, longest day in golf, they've gotten really well now.
They do that well. I can't wait.
Really well.
I can't wait till it's Saturday, because they are atrocious on U.S. Open Saturday.
Yeah.
And
they showed us more shots from those events on Monday at random golf courses from a drone in the sky than they're going to show us next Saturday at Oakmont.
It's going to be brutal. It'll be okay when they come on at, like 8 a.m. And from like 8 a.m. to like 10:30, it's going to be, you'll be cruising right along. Everything will be fine. And then it's going to get to be where the leaders start showing up to the course. And we're just watching guys walk through the parking lot for like 3 minutes at a time. And then they're going to go to commercial without ever showing a golf shot. And then you're going to watch 3 guys hit a putt and 1 guy hit a wedge shot. And then they're going to go to commercial.
Yep.
They got to show everybody's rental cars.
Yeah. You got to get the Lexus in there.
Yeah.
Here's Rory dressed like he's ready to go play the French Open.
Yeah.
With his bag in his hand. And he just got out of his Mercedes.
Yeah, can't wait till we are having the meltdown and discussing a possible Saturday night emergency pod to just dissect that. And it's NBC, right? So there's going to be 87 guys in the booth. They're going to rotate in and out like it's a fucking hockey line shift.
Yep. See you in 2 hours. Until then, you've got Billy Ray Brown.
Yeah, then Brandel rolls in for a couple hours, and then Brad Faxon's there, and next thing you know, Tirico comes flying in from the heavens to cover something for a while.
Yep.
It's like, just get 2 people, leave them in there all day, or, have 2 people go in the morning and flip them out at 1 o'clock when the leaders start playing and just go. But we'll see. Maybe they'll surprise us. I doubt it, but maybe.
Anything can happen.
Okay, gentlemen. I think we covered a lot of bases here tonight. We've got Scotty Scheffler to win the whole thing, and then Matt Waiter's going to bring us home at the British. So
that's right.
Hopefully we'll see you guys Sunday night. We do need to do this Sunday night, FYI, after the U.S. Open. And maybe we'll get a little crazy and go live with it if we're feeling froggy. So.
Sounds good.
All right, Waiter, Slano, thank you, fellas.
See us.
Time for some passing thoughts. I'm going to run through this kind of quick. We had quite a discussion on the U.S. Open, so we'll kind of run through things here at a little bit of a pace here. Let's do the NBA and NHL Finals real quick to start. Both games tied. We had a couple overtime games so far in the Stanley Cup Finals. Oilers take the first, Panthers take the second. Caught little pieces of each game, but fun games thus far. We're going 1-1 into Game 3 on Monday night, so that's a fun one. And then over in the NBA, the Pacers steal Game 1. Thunder kind of let that one get away from them there at the end, and then the Thunder bounce back and pretty well handle the Pacers in Game 2. End up winning by 16. I think it was up to as much as like 22 or 24 at one point. So Thunder take care of business in Game 2 and even up the series. We go back to Indiana for Games 3 and 4. They play on Wednesday and Friday this week. NHL will go Monday, Thursday, Saturday before I talk to you again. And actually, the NBA will go Wednesday, Friday, Monday, probably. So I won't have Mondays in, but you'll have a couple games there. So over in the baseball world, the Cleveland Guardians, not our best week here. Dropped the first two of each series. Dropped two to the Yankees. Sorry, not the first two. They mixed in a win against the Yankees. Dropped the first one, win the second, drop the third. With the Astros, drop the first two, get one in the final game. So not the most ideal week for Cleveland. David Fry is back. That's a good sign. Get another bat back in the lineup. So that should be helpful. But it's tough out there for the Guards. 2-6, not helpful. 7.5 back of the Tigers in the AL Central. Half a game back of Minnesota for second now. On the outside looking in the wild card for the first time here. Half a game back of the Twins, Rays, and Blue Jays. So right there for all three of them. So just start reeling off some wins and, can flip this thing around pretty quickly. Got the Reds, and the Reds come to town for a little 3-game series and then head out to Seattle for a 3-game series. A little West Coast road trip here for them. They go Seattle, San Francisco, and Oakland for their next 3 series after they play the Reds. Seattle, solid team. I don't think the Reds are very good. They're hovering around 500. Nothing special. I mean, this is a week where they got to get some. Got to get 4 wins out of this week to kind of bounce back from a tough week here this week. Over in the NFL, Aaron Rodgers headed to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Finally signs and will be in mini camp. And kind of the little bit of the Aaron Rodgers revenge tour. They play the Jets in the first game. They play the NFC North, so he gets another shot at the Packers. Or this would be his first shot at the Packers, not another. So he gets a shot at the Packers and the rest of his old NFC North foes. I just hope he beats the Bears again. That would be awesome. That would be awesome. PGA Tour, we get a playoff. Ryan Fox takes down Sam Burns on the third playoff hole. Ryan Fox actually hits an absolute beauty in there on the 18th and the third go around. After they cut a new cup, which is something new. I don't really recall seeing them cut a new cup on a hole in a playoff, but they did. Ryan Fox hit a great second shot in there. Ends up making birdie. Sam Burns hit it on the green, but had forever away and ran it way by, missed the birdie putt. Sam Burns had a 5 or 6 footer for birdie on the first playoff hole and just kind of burned it over the edge and had a chance to win. But Sam Burns posted 62 early. The telecast made sure to announce that it was 4:02 when he local time when he posted his final round. He had to wait over 2 hours before Ryan Fox ended up finishing and tying him and sending it into a playoff. So it was a fine tournament. At one point there were like 20. How many guys? I made a note of this. 24 guys were within 4 shots of the lead right after the leaders teed off. So wowza. CCR slaps. I just want to throw that out there. I heard Eric Church did a cover of Up Around the Bend And I thought it was going to be great. I really did. And then I listened to it and I was like, I don't know. It doesn't seem right. And then I went back and listened to CCR Up Around the Bend, and that song kicks ass. And I don't know, Church's rendition of it just wasn't doing it for me. Just missed the mark a little bit. I don't know. Just missed the mark ever so slightly. And I just wasn't feeling it. I just wasn't feeling it. And then I listened to more CCR, and it was really good. And I don't even remember what the context of this picture that I kept on my phone, but it is a picture, if I can get it through the light there. It is a picture of the Tommy Armourers, the Irons, the 845s, the Silver Scots. And I had these irons, and I feel like so many people had these irons. Like, these were the first kind of irons so many people had. Those things were so awesome. Played those for years as a young kid before I finally, started buying irons of my own. And oh God, just brought back, I saw that picture. It just brought back incredible memories, just incredible memories of me trying to learn how to play golf and playing golf badly. And you know what? Not a whole lot's changed. I still play golf badly. I have all different equipment and I still play golf badly. So maybe I should have just stuck with them. I could play golf badly with them. So a couple weeks back, we actually had froze this bread for this moment. A couple weeks back, the roommate had got a homemade loaf of like cinnamon swirl bread. And it was so good. I had toast, buttered toast with it. So good. Well, she's like, we should save some for next time we like do a big breakfast and make French toast out of it. And oh my Lord, whipped out my little countertop griddle. Oh, it was so good. I love French toast. I love cinnamon swirl bread. So combining them into one cinnamon swirl bread French toast. Oh, it was delicious. Just so delicious. So, That's all I got today, folks. Like I said, we had a long one with the boys, so don't want this one to go on forever. So we'll go wrap this thing up and call it a day. Closing time, everybody. Again, just want to say thank you to everybody. I appreciate the support, appreciate the watches, appreciate the listens, appreciate producer Kevy helping us get started down this video path. Don't forget to check out my guy MJ, the Full Range podcast on Spotify. You can also find that on the Ole Walls House YouTube channel. Going to be back next week. Going to be breaking down the U.S. Open. Hopefully all the boys will be here. Just got to, again, schedule is everything. Got to make sure everybody can get together and do it, but that is the plan. So we'll be back next week. U.S. Open, NBA and NHL playoffs, Guardians, all the good stuff, passing thoughts. It's all coming back to you next week. Till then, peace.